Are you struggling to attract new customers to your clothing store? Facebook ads might be the solution you've been looking for. In this video, we'll show you how to create high converting Facebook ads that will bring in new customers, boost sales, and help grow your business. All right, so number one is broad Facebook ads targeting. This is something we've been teaching since late 2020, and for the most part, people are still ignoring the power of broad targeting. I want to tell you a vulnerable and true story to give insight into how powerful broad targeting can be, and how if you listen to the wrong people online, it could actually hurt you. So what happened was we had a client who wanted to believe, and still does believe, that there needs to be a specific funnel that people go through before they make a decision. A top of the funnel, a middle of the funnel, a bottom of the funnel. And so they have to be aware of your brand, which is absolutely true, that they have to be retargeted by your brand, that they have to be engaged by your brand to some kind of offer, and so they fall into specific categories. But that's not how people interact with brands. It may take an email, it may take SMS. We'll talk about both of those later. Maybe take a postcard, also something I'll mention later. But the point is, nobody follows a linear path with their marketing. And so the way the broad advertising works is that it will take the person most likely to engage with your brand, most likely to take the objection, or the objective rather, that Facebook wants, and puts it in front of those people. So if this person is likely going to buy a dress, Facebook will say, hey, this person is looking for a dress, you're advertising a dress, here's this person, go make that purchase. Facebook's job is to give you that person. So for us to dumb down Facebook and say, Facebook, don't go after this person yet, I want you to go after this person later, then we ultimately make that machine dumber. So instead of telling Facebook, go find the person at the right time, we're telling it to fall within these parameters. And so we had a little bit of a back and forth with a client, and where honestly, maybe we should have listened to her and went around that path. But the problem is they were paying us for results. We got really good results. It was more of a focus on, I want to do it this way because I've always been told that marketing is the top, middle, and bottom of the funnel, and that's completely fine. There are those phases. But within Facebook ads, we don't need to have those phases because other parts of the business work. Fast forward 3 or 4 months, that person is no longer working with us because of ultimately that decision. But what happens is, I'm still friends with this person today. We were emailing back and forth, and she said, hey, look, we've been doing top, middle, bottom of the funnel. The results are amazing. This is how much we're doing. And I was like, wow, this is amazing. But we were comparing it to November and December of last year versus January, February, March, where costs were just extremely low. So I said, okay, let's look over year. And I was like thinking about it. And so I looked at their numbers year over year last year versus year over year this year. And our numbers not only were better, but we spent less money to get a higher result. And the only difference, they were doing the same great content, amazing at creating their content. So that's a key. But then the only difference was that one advertising agency was spending more money to hit people in multiple parts of the funnel, which made me question, okay, maybe we should look at the top, middle, and bottom of the funnel. They're spending more money to get the same results, and actually it took longer to scale. So my point for you is this: if you've been watching videos online, if you've been reading a ton of things, when people tell you, go after interest targeting, I'm a streetwear brand, so I should target FUBU, or I should target Supreme, or if I'm a boutique, I should target the Pink Lilies, or interested shoppers, or whomever my competitors are, and go after the interest targeting. What I can tell you is that long term, that will not work. Short term, it may get you amazing results, but we're talking about building a business here. So you need to be looking at something past the 2-month window where that could actually generate you results. We need to look at 3 months, 4 months, and beyond, where real results actually happen. Because right now, broad is still a very hot topic and it seems very controversial, but what I can tell you throughout this video is that it's going to be very advantageous for you to move to this direction, because the rest of the world will eventually catch up and then you'll have a harder time competing with them as well. So take advantage of what other people are dismissing right now. All right, so the number one question that people have about broad is, how does broad targeting actually work when you're targeting millions upon millions of people? How can my audience be 70 million people? Well, let me share with you. The way that it works is that it takes your creative, your copy, it takes your messaging, your website, it takes all those things and puts them into a bucket, and it says, we are going to target people based off of what you've told us, but we're also going to get thousands, if not millions and billions of data points to tell us that your brand is similar to another brand, and people interacted this way, and they interacted this way with your ads. If they interacted in a positive way, we'll show more people like that. If it interacted in a negative way, we'll show less people this. And so it will continue to get granular and more sophisticated and more data driven into what actually works. And the more that you can feed it, the better your copy, the better your creative, the better your messaging, the better your website, guess what? The better your business, the more the broad will work. If broad isn't working for your business, a couple of things. One, you're not doing everything that I just mentioned there, where you're having good creative, good copy, good messaging, a good website. Or two, you've only done it for a short period of time. It is no longer 2018, 2019, 2020, where you set up an ad and in 3 days you knew if it was going to be profitable or not, and so then you moved on. That's not the case. We really need 7 to 10 days, and if it's not resonating with them, then your product's either A, not good, or you're missing on the other pieces that I just mentioned. But over time, the broad targeting will perform better, will allow you to scale and build an actual business model that is successful for you. So when you're going broad, the only thing you should actually care about is the age, gender, and location. Now that you know how to target your ads, it's time that we jump into the areas that people tend to slack on that cost them a lot of money. But before we cover how to choose the right creative, I just want to say howdy. I'm Aaron. I'm one of the co-founders here at Branding and we're an e-commerce growth agency that specializes in helping clothing stores grow and scale profitably online. Please make sure you hit that subscribe button. Dynamic creative ads. These types of ads are nothing new. They've been around for a very long time, but they are still underutilized. I'll walk you through what these ads are and why they are so important here in a second inside of Ads Manager, because I think that's the best way to do it. But a couple of quick tips, a more updated version of this, of DCT or dynamic creative ads, is that you need to test based off of concept and collection. So what is a concept? So we define a concept as a product or collection with an offer and a destination. For example, a summer heat collection, a group of products related to the same category for 50% off, maybe that's the offer, and then to a specific collection page on the website. So if you have those three, then you've created a concept. Use the all placement options. This is number 2 within this updated. Use the all placement option. We used to say just do the feeds or do everything but the audience network. Just go ahead and put everything on there. Use all placement options. Gets Facebook as much data as possible. And if you have several DCTs or dynamic creatives, put them into one campaign. Do not separate them into one campaign for this, one campaign for this, one campaign for this. Keep it together into one campaign and let the budget be distributed. And also, please don't jump into like more than 3 dynamic creative tests at one time. That tends to be a little bit too much for the system to handle, at least what we've seen right now. There's exceptions to the rules, but right now 2 to 3 max in your campaign. All right, before we jump into blended ROAS and why that should matter more to you than your return on Facebook ads, I know the Facebook ads video, return is important. We'll talk about that, but I wanted to tell you about our free masterclass training for clothing stores that will walk you through the 5 pillars that must be in place for your online store to scale consistently and profitably, no matter what is going on in the world. To get access to this free training, make sure you check out the link in the description down below. Blended ROAS. Most people are familiar with ROAS, or return on ad spend, and that's kind of what you're working on now. I'm sure that's a number that you're focused on as you want your return, right? How much $1 you spend to make $1 return or make $2 return. But I'm here to tell you that that number doesn't matter as much as you may think. Don't get me wrong, I want you to be profitable, but honestly, most people who are making less than $250,000 a year in their business are not as profitable with their ads as they would like to believe. They see the top line revenue instead of really looking at the net number. So Facebook is a great way to get in front of your customer, but it is the job of your business model to get them to come back and purchase again and increase the average order value with that. Now remember, a clothing store is really not a business until they get the person to come back and buy multiple times. 2 times for sure, 3 times is like, you know you have a real business here. With a clothing store, your AOV or average order value may only be $40. It will be difficult just starting out, or even a seasoned veteran of running ads to get a 3x return, right? That's difficult on a $40 average order value, which is why I like to look at blended return across my marketing. So your ads, email and SMS, postcards, the things we mentioned earlier, upsells, and anything else that may be specific to you. If you are a live seller, whether it's something like CommentSold, you want to look across the whole spectrum, the big piece of the pie here, and that is how much am I spending and then how much am I making? Now, pay attention to every dollar that you spend and how much you get in return. You do need to be very, very specific on it. Our internal goal is to get a 7x return across everything and keep it as close to that as possible as we scale. We use a tool like Triple to track our blended ROAS, but you can manually do it with an Excel spreadsheet as well if it's the very beginning of the business. But for more information on Triple, check out the link in the description. Great software and a great way to track that blended ROAS for your business. If you look at your blended return versus your Facebook ad return, you'll start to make better decisions with your money because you know you can make it back, which gives you the confidence to invest more in the ads and reach even more people. people. More people means more sales. You can see how that starts to really get a return. Building a successful campaign. All right, let's jump into Ads Manager, put it all together, and create a successful ad campaign. Okay, so we are over here in Ads Manager. I'm going to walk you through step by step of what needs to be created. But first thing you need to make sure that you do is have winning pieces of creative and then winning pieces of copy. If you don't have either of those, then you need to make sure to go and get those first. This is a video about how to run Facebook ads. What I will tell you is that running the Facebook ads, that's the easy part. The hard part is making sure that you get good creative. A good place to look at, if you have not done so already, is go look at your really good organic content, and we can jump and throw those into the ad. So let's assume at this point you've stopped, you went to ChatGPT to write some good copy, get some good prompts there, you found some winning stuff on your organic content as well, because you don't want to put trash into this campaign manager. Because I talk to people all the time like, hey, look, I set it up perfectly, and you're like, I'm like, you did, absolutely, but this creative is horrible. This is not good creative. So do not be one of those people who wastes money by putting bad creative into this machine, because the machine will only produce the content or produce quality for the quality that you put into it. Go over here, let's hit the create button. If you can see here, we have several different campaigns that are running. These are only extra campaigns, quote unquote, because we have live sales that we're doing, so we just have some other pieces that are running. But for most brands, you're going to have one thing. So what we're going to do is go ahead and click create inside of here. We're going to hit sales. This is our first campaign. We're going to set up as a dynamic creative ad. So dynamic creative ads, we'll talk about here in a second, is a very effective way to run multiple ads at one time without having to have a ton of budget or losing out on multiple post IDs and trying to figure out what works and doesn't work. So the Advantage Plus, great option once we find winners to scale. But right now, let's go to the manual sales campaign. We're going to label this however you'd like. This could be your top of the funnel, whatever you would like to label it as. Completely fine with you is fine with me, or what's completely fine with you is fine with me. Advantage Plus, would you like to do $100 a day? I would suggest nothing really below 50. 30 would be it'd be a little real tough, but you would only run one ad set if you did that. $100 a day, I would do 2 ad sets, and if you wanted to do 3, $150, $200 a day. Right now, let's just focus on creating one winning ad set. $100 a day, everything else leave it the same. Go ahead and click next. We're gonna go for website purchases, scroll down, age, gender, location, as we mentioned for the broad, 21, 65, going for women here, could be men or women, whoever your demographic is. If you sell to both people, who's the 51, who's the 49? Don't go to all at this point. Go to the 5149. You need to be specific. All right, go to Advantage Plus, placements, everybody. We want it to be 7 days after clicking, 1 day after view. This is an attribution weighting, build questioning. A lot of people have questions about attribution right now. Give as much data to Facebook as possible. You can get into some more advanced things a little bit later. 7 day after clicking, 1 day after viewing. Go ahead and get to the ad level, and then this could be, let's just say summer sizzle. Okay. Maybe that's the name of the collection. Always name it after the collection. Make sure the page is set up right. We're not going to do a catalog ad. We're going to do manual upload here. We're going to do single images. Turn on the ad preview. We're not going to have multiple advertisers ads. We're going to turn that off. Okay, we need to make sure that this is a shop now button. Scroll down, make sure that this is the right URL that we want. We're going to send them to this URL. Select your domain. This should already be done and set up. App events if you have it. Okay, now let's go back and make sure we can add the images. You can grab these from your Instagram. You can upload them manually as it's talking about here. I do not care where you grab them. If they've already done well on Instagram, then pull them over. So I'm going to grab some that we can put here. I'm just gonna grab 3. I suggest 3 right now. I can do 4. We've also tested 5, 10 at a time. Probably would not do that, especially because it's a little bit more advanced. So try out 3 or 4. Right now, it's gonna give Facebook the most data that it needs to make a decision. Go ahead and click next. We'll do 1 by 1. So you can choose the cropping however you'd like. Interesting. This is new. State-of-the-art enhancements. Oh, okay. So it's basically saying like, hey, your images, your videos aren't that good. Let me help you make this better. So it's helping us do that. Okay. So there's also some music you could add to it. It's saying add music, brighten it up, in full editing process inside of Facebook now. That's kind of cool. All right. So that's our option here for the media. I'm glad that I did this, because one thing that almost every time somebody forgets, I even forgot it right here, make sure the dynamic creative is turned on. That's going to allow us to do everything that we needed to do. So now we can come over here and we can select other images to add in here as well. Grab my 3. So we got multiple images inside of here, primary text. To add multiple headlines on multiple text, just go ahead and click the add text button here, add headline button here. Okay, right in the primary text, you can use ChatGPT or Jasper or something else to give you good prompts there and write better copy. So primary text, headlines, we're good there. You can add a description if you really like to. We don't add too many descriptions on this anymore. Shop now says asset feed optimization type, mismatch unknown error, so I'll have to look into that. I think that's just something that has to do with the piece of creative that I uploaded. So you'll make sure that you resolved all the errors here. Feed optimization, yeah, it's something I did here. So we'll need to fix that. There we go. It was just a formatting with the way that it was laid out. All right, so those are the 3 pieces. It's still giving it to me, but the way that it's cropped, I guess it needs to be fixed. All right, so there's the 2 primary text, 2 headlines, and then what will happen is I will show you what it looks like afterwards. Once you have a winning ad, it will show you. Let's go back to a campaign here. Top of the funnel, DACT. We got this V5. It's got 80 purchases. Break it down here. So we got one over here that's 45. This is this new arrivals videos. 45 purchases. This would be one where I'd grab the post ID. There we go. Guess that worked really well. I grab that post ID and then I would put that into the Advantage Plus ad. Now, make sure that Advantage Plus, if you decide to go that route, you have a $100 a day budget or more, and you have 2, 3, 4 ads that you can put in there as well. But this tells me right here that this is the winner, this is the winner, this one probably not so much. So it's good feedback to give back to our creative team and to the customer that this is not the type of budget or the type of content that we should create. We should be focusing on these 2 right here. All right, so if you like this video, then you need to go check out our latest video on Instagram ads right here. I hope you guys have a great rest of your day. We will see you next time. And PS, make sure to hit that subscribe button.